I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Another video. This is another paid request, this time from Frame by Frame. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, topics, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Bulletproof Monk 2. Now, this is a film where, I mean, I've heard that this is the first, this new film starring Simu Liu, who I don't know who the hell this guy is. I do know he's the guy that, if you don't like the film, you're racist. I also know he's the guy that, I don't know, made some Reddit posts years ago that apparently the P to the E to the D to the O's are the same as gay. He compared to being gay. Yeah. Seems like a swell guy. But I mean, he goes around and says, there's never been an Asian comic book movie becoming a film, like a comic book superhero movie where an Asian is the star. I mean, yeah, there's been superhero movies like Black Mask, among others, with Jet Li. There's been comic book movies like the first Bulletproof Monk with an Asian lead like Chow Yun-fat, but for some reason, Marvel put this out, Bulletproof Monk 2. I guess they got the rights from the first movie. But it's weird. Like, oh, it's the first comic book movie to star an Asian lead. That's funny. I remember Bulletproof Monk 1 in 2003 because I saw it in the theater. Chow Yun-fat was the star, and that was based on a comic book. Technically, Brandon Lee is part Asian, and he was the star of a movie called The Crow. And I remember back in the day, Stan Lee actually wanted Brandon Lee to star in Shang-Chi, Bulletproof Monk 2. But he wanted, strange, granted, that would have been a better choice, because Brandon Lee has more talent as Pinky than Simu Liu does in his entire fucking body. But Brandon Lee doesn't exist, even though, again, Stan Lee wanted him for Shang-Chi. And, don't believe me, look it up, this was like in the 80s, early 90s. Sadly, Brandon Lee passed away, and he would have been so much better than this guy. And again, there's, the Simu Liu's going on interviews saying, finally we got Asian representation. I mean, God forbid, we had people like Donnie Yen, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Mark Dacascos, Chow Yun-fat. I've seen, Kiss of the Dragon, The Replacement Killers, Romeo Must Die, Cradle to the Grave. Even that's better than this movie. Let alone Fist of Legend, let alone Enter the Dragon, let alone even, Game of Death 2 is better than this movie. There's never been kung fu movies, there's never been action films with Asian leads. I don't love a film like this, which should have gotten what this got. There wasn't this film with John Cho No, it's not a superhero comic book movie, but a movie starring an Asian lead. Oh, John Cho. A guy who's a much better actor and a much better fucking movie than Simu Liu in Bulletproof Monk 2. It's an Asian guy with superpowers. The only thing missing is him talking about fucking hot dogs and hot dog buns. And Sally, I think I would rather watch that movie than... I seriously think the first film is better than the sequel. I really do. Because that first film was not over 2 hours long. It didn't have Awkwafina. Well, speaking of Awkwafina, I need some fucking agua to take the bad taste of her comedy out of my mouth. Holy shit, was she not funny. She was about funny as your balls on a cheese grater, nails on a chalkboard, or a dead cat screeching and then coming back to life and pissed off and giving you the middle finger with a cat piss in your mouth. Awkwafina was not funny. He's about as funny as being in the morgue. Simu Liu is bland. Is boring. So fucking bland and boring made my camera freezing already. So my camera's literally stuttering. Michelle Yeoh, which is weird because this is a Marvel film, but she was already in a Marvel film, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Aren't they all connected Marvel films? So it's gonna be weird because Michelle Yeoh's in Guardians 2. She was on the team with Sylvester Stallone, but she's also in this. What's her twin sister? It's the same character? That's a twist? M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong style? Yeah, Michelle Yeoh, they fucked up because these are supposed to be in one universe, but if that's the case, is there going to be another Robert Downey Jr.? Is there going to be another Chris Evans? Whatever the fuck. The comic book, it was more just a Bruce Lee type. No superpowers, kicking ass, taking names, being a badass. We can't fucking have that. And then, in fact, China itself does not like Bulletproof Monk 2 because it doesn't want effeminate men. That's their words. Their words from China. You know, they're very tolerant. I know there's a lot of bullshit in America, but there's a lot of bullshit in every country. That's my take on it. And even China's like, we don't want effeminate men. I'm like, okay. That's what China says. And they said, we don't want your movie because the star's too ugly. That's what China says. That's what China said. They don't want this movie because the lead guy's too ugly and too effeminate. Again, not my choice of words. That was China's choice of words. Don't believe me? Look it up. Pretty fucking hilarious. This triumph of a movie. I'm like, no. At best, this is a mediocre film. And to me, I would put it above Black Widow. I would put it above Captain Marvel. But it's below mediocre. That's why I would call it below mediocre. It's not the worst of the worst. It's below. It's way too long. It gets very fucking stupid and CGI orgasm in the end. Where it's Chinese Wakanda. Where there's fucking serpents and wannabe squids and superpowers everywhere, and the bad guy's not really a really bad guy, because every fucking villain now's gotta be like Sam Raimi Spider-Man villains, where they're bad guys, but they're not really bad guys. Can we ever have an evil guy ever again in a comic book movie? Probably Carnage and Venom 2, but that's gonna be a shitty movie, because it's PG-13, and it's a sequel to a shitty film, and... But like, all these Marvel films, like, bad guys cannot actually be bad guys. Thanos is a bad guy, but the reason I'm doing this is Ant-Man the Wasp. Ghost is a bad guy, but she's not really a bad guy. She's not really bad. Black Panther, well, he's a bad guy, but not really, because he's doing this, and we're supposed to root for him. No, he said he wants to kill kids. But because apparently if they're too evil, that's too one-dimensional. Yeah, because when we read comic books, many times we read comic books, the bad guy was the bad guy. And the good guy had to stop the bad guy. and sometimes simplicity is fine. And sadly, Tony Leung is the best actor, because Tony Leung has done... Just go watch his past stuff. Go watch Bullet in the Head with John Woo directing. Highly recommend that movie. One of John Woo's most underrated films. Hard Boiled, a fucking classic. And Tony Leung, he plays Bulletproof Monk's dad. Raised him. How the hell do I get into this plot? Because it flashes in and out of the timeline. The guy's dad found these mystical 10 rings. It grants you immortality, godlike powers. But then he goes to this magic forest, where literally the entire forest will fucking move. And he's going there because he wants to find the dragons, the beasts, whatever, to get more power. He meets a lady. You have this shitty wannabe Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but with superpowers. Sorry, doesn't impress me. You know what impresses me? Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Gary Daniels, Jeff Wincott, Martha Costas. You know what impresses me? This film that cost $3 million fucking dollars. This film cost $3 million and has better martial arts, better choreography, more action, a more badass lead. Go watch Drive from 1997, a precursor to Rush Hour. $3 million. They had a low budget, and they kicked ass and took names. You want action with kicking ass, martial arts, with no superpowers, no CGI? Go watch Drive. You want a good movie with an Asian lead? Go watch Searching. Have a double feature of this. I mean, a double feature of this will probably be as long as this one movie, because this movie's like over 2 hours long. Way too fucking long. Way too fucking boring. Because why should I give a shit about this lead guy? The guy who loves the P to the E to the D to the O's, or feels sorry for him. That was the right word. He feels sorry for him, and conversion therapy should be used, just like should be used on, what did he say? They should be used on gay people. Fuck Simu Liu. Guy's fucking asshole. Because he's Asian? No, he's an asshole. Asshole is a part of every race. Asshole don't know color. So the Tony Leung finds his lady, and she kicks his ass, even though he has the 10 rings must not mean shit. Because this woman kicks his ass even with the 10... The part of the fucking... Well... Shang-Chi, Legend of the 10 Rings. Part of the actual fucking title. But it must be called Bulletproof Monk 2. It might as fucking well. So I'm going to call that because I want to be an asshole. And the 10 Rings apparently are pussified. Because even this lady kicked his ass. Even with the big 10 rings. It must be 10 fucking cock rings. 10 butt plugs. 10 dildos. Shoved up his fucking keister. And this origin story is nothing new. It's nothing interesting. It's nothing unique. There's nothing worth a shit about it that you haven't seen done 50 times. Guy has a dad. The dad was an asshole. You know what it is? I saw this shit in Ninja Assassin. And you know what? That was a better movie. That had some wanty CG too. But you know what? That was still a more fun movie than this. Go watch Ninja Assassin. Despite the CG blood. But the CG blood was so outrageous, it was kind of fun to watch in a weird way. I don't know how that worked, but... It's just they were so plentiful with this, like, tidal wave. I mean, people with this film act like they've never seen a kung fu movie. And act like they've never seen a martial arts film. That's what gets me with some of these critics and these reviews. I'm like, have you ever seen a kung fu movie? Have you ever seen a martial arts film? Bruceploitation films like the clones of Bruce Lee, Dame of Death. Go watch Dame of Death 2. Go watch Soul Brothers of Kung Fu. Go watch Enter the Dame of Death. Not Dame of Death, Enter the Dame of Death. Go watch, again, any number of films with Jet Li. Go watch Kiss of the Dragon. Hell, the fight scenes in this might compare to Romeo Must Die. There's a couple alright fight scenes on the bus. The big bus scene, there's some decent. Nothing monumental, but decent. There's this one guy with a white mask that the lead fights for about 40 seconds. Not bad. But not fucking Triumph. People say this is a Triumph. They haven't seen Marvel films, they haven't seen superhero films, and they definitely haven't seen martial arts and kung fu films. If they want to call this a Triumph. Again, Asian guy, star of a comic book. Chow Yun-fat did that in Bulletproof Monk. That's like me calling Bulletproof Monk a fucking Triumph. And people would say that's fucking stupid. Same shit here. It's a more expensive Bulletproof Monk. Thus I call Bulletproof Monk 2. Only shittier. At least they had some decent actors. They just had a director who did not know what he was doing and a crappy screenplay. Here, you have a director that has never done action before. From what I understand with Marvel films, they just hire someone else to do all the action. You, director, you work with the characters. Someone else does all the action. So the director doesn't really handle the action in a lot of these new Marvel films. That's what I've read up. Is that you're doing with the characters and talking in cars. Someone else does the action scenes. Because apparently there was another person that was going to direct a Marvel film. And they're like, but wait a minute, I want to do the action scenes. No. We have a team to do that. You just worry about the dialogue. It's kind of like when they did the Transporter films. Like Choi Yoon and such, they did the action. Then they had another director, they do the dialogue. So in present day, our lead is a valet. His girlfriend and buddy is Awkwafina. They're trying to park a car. Let's go drive this. Come on, I'm an Asian Jeff Gordon. And, you know, they're driving shitty. At one time they're on a bus, and Awkwafina looks at someone and goes, that's exactly the daughter my mom wishes came out of her vagina. Sorry, Awkwafina, you're not funny. You're not hilarious. You're not even chuckle-worthy. You're irritating. You're annoying. You're like Kevin Hart. That's the vibe she got me. Like, annoyance in the level of Kevin Hart in Ride Along. So you have the big bus scene, and the bus scene, there's alright hand-to-hand, but at the same time, there's a lot of, like, crappy CG and over-the-top stuff. There's a guy with a sword for a hand. Like, literally, there's no hand, and then a sword looks like a fucking wannabe lightsaber pops up. I'm like... And then, big CGI. I'm like, you know, you want to see scenes with a bus? Go watch Speed with Keanu Reeves. They didn't need CG back in the day. And that was a lot less expensive than that. This cost $150 to $200 million. Speed didn't cost a quarter of that. And you have the elevator, the bus, and the subway sequences in Speed. For fuck's sake, man. Maybe it's best to not have films 150 to 200 million. That way, you have to be more creative and do it more down and dirty. Like Speed did. Like, this film cost $3 million. And then maybe we need to do more interesting films like this. Instead of this just lame, generic horse shit. This is why I'm so tired of comic book movies. I'm so tired of superhero movies. Yeah, I liked The Suicide Squad. But so many of these other ones are just so generic and in one ear, out the other, that you do not fucking remember a week after it came out. It's an assembly line of just generic paste. It's generic butter. You put on, you taste it, and there's no lingering effect. There's no much of an aftertaste. It leaves your body as quickly as it entered it. The lead guy, nothing to him. There's no charisma, nothing. I didn't feel a fucking thing other than in real life he's an asshole. And maybe a weirdo. He finds his sister. His sister doesn't ask him, what are you doing here? Wait a minute, it's been a while, it's been a minute. What's going on here? Wait, what's happening? Wait, why are you here? Why did you leave? No, immediately, because it's an underground fight club, she kicks his ass. And granted, he's holding back because he doesn't want to hurt her. But how about you fucking subdue her? How about you pin her? How about you grab her? No, he gets his ass kicked. Again, I get it. He's holding back. But you don't hold back and subdue someone. No. He gets his ass kicked and he gets kicked in the balls. Your lead hero, folks. Can you imagine, like, maybe Jackie Chan in an action comedy? But this is a guy that the comic books are based on Bruce Lee. Can you imagine Bruce Lee or Jet Li or Brandon Lee or, you know, getting kicked in the balls? And then gives him a fuck you knockout kick. Literally a fuck you knockout kick. Oh, by the way, you know all this talk about Abomination, the villain in The Incredible Hulk? They even fucked that character up. How? I like The Incredible Hulk. The Abomination was the bad guy. He's in this underground fight. He's fighting not even the lead. He's fighting Juan, one of the guys from Doctor Strange. And literally in 20 seconds, it tries to punch Juan. He takes the Doctor Strange thing, the portal, makes another portal here. So Abomination punches through, but then it goes through here and knocks himself out. Abomination knocked himself out in 20 seconds. And then Juan's like, come with me, and I'm going to show you how to deal with those punches. And apparently Abomination is now a good guy, and follows him like a fucking puppy, and got knocked out 20 seconds as a pussy. And I'm thinking, this is an insult to the Hulk. Think about it. Had a big fight with the Hulk in The Incredible Hulk. You've now, what took the Hulk all this effort to subdue, knock out, stop. The same villain got knocked out 20 seconds by some guy because he had a magic portal, and now follows him like a loyal puppy to train on punches. And he's also a good guy. Well, how the hell that came about. That's what... So if you're a fan of The Incredible Hulk, which I like the film, they just do everything to destroy characters, don't they? Destroy past films. Even The Incredible Hulk, because who cares about that film? That film didn't do that well. It's better than this movie. I'll take Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk any day over this fucking generic shit. Well, it didn't make the money. Yeah, you know what else didn't make the money? John Carpenter's The Thing is better than any fucking Marvel film. So there you go. So that was fucking insulting to anyone who actually, like me, did like that film. Pathetic. Fucking pathetic. And then Shang-Chi gets knocked out, like, because he's pathetic. And of course, wait, you sent me a postcard. No, I didn't. The bad guys follow them there. Then you have this fight on the side of a building with these bamboo. So what? This is like the scene in Rush Hour 2. Remember Rush Hour 2 when one of the first big action scenes with them is on the side of a building and the bamboo going back and forth. Lee! Bamboo, very strong. That's what they stole the scene from Rush Hour 2, only they put a lot more CGI, a lot more have the camera doing this and doing this, trying to be fucking spiffy, but I don't care. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about the CG glorified action scenes. Part of the appeal of martial arts is people doing it bare bones by themselves with no tricks. It's why you compare like newer Jackie Chan films like Rush Hour 3 to older Jackie Chan films like Police Story, and the way it's edited, and it just ruins the magic, the effect compared to older films where you see much more without cutting, and CGI also hurts it too, whether it be CGI backgrounds, CGI additions. They ruin part of the appeal of Kung Fu martial arts. Down and dirty basics, mano a mano. What can you do with the body? What can you do physically? That's why, to me, Kung Fu and superpowers don't really mix. One of the reasons I didn't like The Medallion. That's another movie. Jackie Chan as a superhero. The Medallion. So don't give me this. There's never been an Asian superhero. Black Mask. The Medallion with Jackie fucking Chan. Inframan. Which I like Inframan. Go watch Inframan. That's a better movie than this. There's never been based on a comic book. Bulletproof Monk. Technically The Crow. But those films don't exist. It's like with Black Panther. No one remembers Blade and Blade 2? I do, and those are much better fucking films than Black Panther. I will say it. Blade and Blade 2 kick the shit out of Black Panther. The Crow kicks the shit out of this movie. And The Crow is a good movie. I have issues watching it because I feel bad anytime because Brandon Lee died during the making of it. I know, that's weird, just how I am. But The Crow is a good movie. Is a good film. And it's much fucking better than this. Go watch The Crow. This is generic shit. Awkwafina, annoying as fuck. Lead, boring as fuck. Sister, more boring as fuck. Bad guy, not much to do. Tony Leung, wasted. Abomination, fucking pathetic. If you like The Incredible Hulk, you'd probably be pissed at this. He's fighting the guy with his white mask on. The fight gets stopped by the dad, Tony Leung, who then takes him to his compound. You want to join me? No. Then you're in this jail. You're in this dungeon. Okay. So then, my neighbor's Rooster's even pissed about that. Or they're pissed about this coming up. Ben Kingsley. Yo, from Iron Man 3. We had to have him come back. Because Tony Leung is the real Mandarin. Ben Kingsley was the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3. He's still playing the actor. And he said, well, they were going to execute me, but they liked me as a jester. And you think, okay, how they don't break out of this fucking dungeon? Oh, the sister just breaks a wall. A random fucking wall. That's it. How fucking random is that? Not, let's find a way, secret passage. No, the sister just breaks a fucking random wall. Oh yeah, when I was a kid. Which, by the way, the sister is better than Shang-Chi because she trained in the shadows. And she's better than Shang-Chi at fighting. Like, Shang-Chi had to do all this fucking shit. So then Ben Kingsley also has this magical creature that's pretty much a headless chicken. I'm not kidding. It's pretty much a headless chicken. That's really what it is. A headless magical chicken. Glorified chicken. Whatever the fuck. They have to go to this forest at this appointed day, appointed time, where the forest will open up. And by the way, the only way you could make it is with a car. But back then, there were no cars. So how the fuck did people make it back in the day? Did they teleport? Did they run really fast? Horses don't run that fast. What, did they get the ride of the fucking fire mares from Kroll? How the fuck did they get through this fucking... Like, they barely get through with a car. They barely get through with a car. So how the fuck is anyone supposed to get through this fucking closing and... opening, closing of the entire fucking forest? The forest literally opens up. How the fuck does anyone get through back in the day when you're on foot or had a horse? Of course. Again, they barely get through with a car. So back in the day, how did they fly? Did teleport? Not supposed to think about that. They go to Magic Land, aka the Chinese Wakanda. I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's Wakanda, but it's China. A place hidden from everywhere else. That, you know, all this stuff here, working with the animals, only this is much more mystical animals. And then the second half, it really bogs down. Like the first half, maybe we don't, But the second half really bogs down. Because the second half is just meeting Michelle Yeoh, talking with Michelle Yeoh, training with Michelle Yeoh. He has to slow down to fight Michelle Yeoh, because Michelle Yeoh is up there in age. Yeah, I don't know why she's in this. When she's in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, I thought you couldn't do that because that would mess up the continuity. Because if you're in that, how come you're in this? Again, maybe her twin sister, I don't know. Awkwafina, bow and arrow, looks like she trained in one fucking day, and she gets good at it. A lot of flashes to his mom, and his mom died, and I don't give a fuck, because I don't give a fuck about the characters. I'm sorry, Mr. Bulletproof Monk, I don't give a fuck about you. The bad guys come, no one has a fucking gun. No one has a gun. Tony Leung is there because he thinks his dead wife, aka the kid's mom, is back there. They're like, no, it's not. Well, I know what she sounds like. If you go in there to decimate a village because you think your fucking wife is kidnapped and trapped, why would no one bring a gun? Why would none of the bad guys bring a gun? They bring stuff that just wraps them around and traps them. Why does no one have a gun? This is a G.I. Joe cartoon. This is a TV show, The A-Team. At least those were actually excused back to the day for being TV shows in the 80s. Yeah, I get it. This is 2021. Trying to be a serious story. Well, I don't know if I can even say that with a straight face. No one has a gun. The good guys have spears and bow and arrows. Where's their technology? They have nothing more advanced than spears and bow and arrows. No one's even got any fucking nunchucks. No sais. Well, that's ninja. What? No, Bruce Lee used it. I mean, if this guy's inspired by Bruce Lee, get some nunchucks in there. Get some, oh, we can't have nunchucks. Because you hit him in the face, and that brings up the rating. It does. That's why even overseas and Britain land, British, Ninja Turtles, they had to cut out the scenes where Michelangelo had nunchucks. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, I think it was called. That's a whole another ball game. So one's got bow and arrows and spears, and the others have fucking hand-to-hand weapons, or non-guns. How the fuck that makes sense? They fight. I don't give a shit. First, this is like a not give a shit fight, kind of like the ending of Hobbs and Shaw. When The Rock and Roman Reigns and they're trying to do the ritual, what the fuck that was about, and then find the bad guy. I don't care. Sadly, I would rather watch Hobbs and Shaw because I like the two actors more, but that wasn't a great movie, sadly. It was a disappointment. I didn't hate the film, to be fair, but it's not a film I rewatch much. I thought it was meh, and it should be a lot more than meh. This one is just boring, overlong. Tony Leung beats the shit out of his kid, opens a portal, these creatures that suck your soul out come out. Shang-Chi is in the water. Remembers his mom. Slip of the tongue. Rides a fucking serpent. Rides the Loch Ness fucking monster, might as well. And then goes around. And the dad is not so much of a bad guy. He saves his son, but he gets his soul sucked out. And so Shang-Chi, instead of having like be able to use his kung fu, no, he's a shitty Liu Kang. Shitty Liu Kang. Even shittier than Mortal Kombat 2020 Liu Kang. And just, destroys his fucking squid-like thing. Just every fucking ending of a Marvel film has this big orgasm, CGI-filled orgasm fest. Every ending thinks they're an Avengers ending. It actually makes me appreciate more the more quieter ending of Iron Man 1. Where he's fighting the bigger Iron Man, and it's pretty much around that one building, a little bit on the street. There's gotta be this orgasm CGI fest. Awkwafina gets a lucky shot, says, "Holy shit." Because we never heard the word shit. They save the day. Shang-Chi and Awkwafina are talking to some friends, trying to be funny and failing. And like the comedy is awful. Like there's this one bit when they're going to China and they're on a plane, and Awkwafina's like, "Oh, what do you have to eat?" "Well, we have the beef, the chicken, or the vegetarian." "But the chicken's out." "Okay, we'll take the vegetarian." "Well, actually, the vegetarian's out." "Okay, just we'll take beef." "And you, sir?" "Well, go take beef. There's nothing else left." This goes on for like 2 minutes. And 2 minutes on. The comedy is not funny. The action scenes, at best, below mediocre. Martial arts. I could name you countless films with Jeff Wincott and Lauren Avedon and Gary Daniels and Jeff Speakman. Go watch The Perfect Weapon. Go watch Land of the Free. Go watch Last Man Standing with Jeff Wincott. Go watch Riot, Rage, Recoil. Go watch Drive or Crying Freeman. Which, isn't that based on a comic? Crying Freeman? I think that's based on a comic. And that has an Asian lead. There you go, Crying Freeman. Another better comic book movie based with an Asian lead. Crying Freeman, The Crow. I would rather watch Bulletproof Monk. I shit you not. Yet again, a sequel that's worse than the original. Bulletproof Monk I would rather watch, and I don't like that movie. But that one is not over 2 hours long. Chow Yun-fat has more personality than Simu Liu. And Sean William Scott is not nearly as annoying as Awkwafina. So it says a lot when you want me to watch Bulletproof Monk over your fucking... So fuck Bulletproof Monk 2. The score is completely forgettable. I dare anyone to remember one piece of music in this movie. I dare anyone, without looking it up, without looking the shit up, remember one piece of music of any sort in this movie. I dare anyone to do it. People even like the film. I dare you. Do you remember the music? Hum it to yourself. I bet you can't. Back in the day when we had a comic book movie come out, or as much as I don't like Man of Steel, at least the music was good. All the Marvel movies have shitty music, let's be honest. None of the Marvel films have had music worth a shit. Can you remember the music in Captain America movies? Can you remember the music in Doctor Strange? Can you remember the score? I'm not talking about the songs. I'm talking about the score in Guardians of the Galaxy. Ant-Man. I can't remember any of the score, the music. This is generic. Just like this fucking movie. I know I'm not going to give credit to the bad guy because I'm fucking tired of this fucking bad guy, but he's not really a bad guy motif in so many of these fucking films. They're a bad guy, but they're not really a bad guy. Just let them be a fucking bad guy. It's not against the fucking law. Give me a lead who's an ultimate bad. If Shang-Chi, the comic, had no superpowers, he didn't need superpowers in this fucking movie. He didn't need CGI in this fucking movie. Be different. Have it take place in the 1970s and have it be a Shang-Chi that kicked ass, took names like a badass Bruce Lee type. But you have the budget and gloss of a Marvel film. Or just go watch Kill Bill or go watch any number of fucking movies out there. Fuck this movie. Fuck this flick. Fuck Bulletproof Monk 2. Later.